Welcome to the Tine Talk Podcast, sponsored by Rack Fuel, premium deer nutrition. Fuel your herd.
We're recording here. We're hot here. What's up, everybody?
DVD to record.
It's the first episode of the Tine Talk Podcast. I'm Mitch Stam. Along with me, we got
Dustin, Mitch. Everybody knows who you are.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're the star. You're the star of the show, Mr.
he's getting
190,
published
Mr.
nationwide.
190.
Yeah,
The only one that.
If you don't read, try reading Bowhunter magazine. You'll find out.
Pretty big stuff right there.
The guy's
big
kind of a big deal.
yeah.
Anyway, back to
So
back
me,
to
not such a big deal. Dustin
What's your last name?
Nelson.
Okay.
Been filming for about as long as Mitch has been filming. We got a few on the ground under our belt, but
Yep.
hopefully many more to come.
Yes, sir. Especially this year. Got a couple.
Yeah, this
When
year
you
we
get
got a
some
few
more.
Iowa gentlemen. Maybe
Yep.
we'll you guys will double your production.
No, we got the Ead brothers here. Myself being Jake preferably. 3-year-old deer slayer. So I gotta step that up a little bit. But yeah.
Time to start passing some deer. But I'm Cole.
Nothing wrong with that.
We're I got one deer under the old belt on film, but we're trying.
I don't
Curly.
have
Yep.
any bucks on
Yep.
film. That's a shame.
Had a chance
Really?
last year.
I did, yes.
Were you trying to self-film that one or not?
I for sure should have got it on film.
All right, since we're talking about it, let's go into the story. Let's talk about 2022 for a little bit.
With my buck?
Yeah, let's hear
Yeah,
about
we
it.
were just in it.
Are you talking about my
October
buck?
29th. October 29th. Buck we call Russ. Me and Cole had him on camera quite a bit. I was up at our pond we got in our big woods at the home farm there. South wind. So I was at the old
Yeah,
stand.
yeah,
I was sitting in the old stand. We got one on each side of the pond for north wind, south wind.
Yep.
We come following it, a doe in there, coming real nice and slow. Gave me plenty of time to get the camera rolling. And
That was pretty early too in the night, wasn't it? I feel
Yeah,
like
it was
text.
plenty of
Text.
daylight. It was like 4:35,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
We were just looking at. Oh, I just looked at those messages the other day, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah, you just sent
BBD.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
That was pretty badass.
yeah. He came in out from opposite way I was expecting, out onto the trail, following the doe pretty close to her. The doe had me pegged for 5 minutes. I thought I was gonna get busted by that doe, but then a little spike come from the other direction, chased the doe.
Gotta
I didn't
love
chase her, but run up to her, and my buck Russ went after him a little bit, tried to get him out of there. Chased him off. The doe went to the pond. He followed her, hit our licking branch. We got a vine hanging there too. Hit that real quick, and then was drinking at the pond and hammered him. Went right across the pond, and he went like 40 yards down the hill.
So sounds like you had like all day to throw on the camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking back on it,
Dude, I was just locked in on
I
trying,
know,
not,
it's tough
trying
though.
not to get busted.
If you got that dope pegged on you, I mean,
She was on me hard
Yeah.
for a little bit.
it's
You were in
tough
kill
to self film. You run it
yeah.
how often, but I
Yeah.
remember way back in the day when we first started back when I was trying with the old camera. I mean, I had one opportunity. I was like, I cannot move here. I don't know what to do with my hand on this
I
side. And
You got to be standing up almost every time too.
Yeah.
Because if you're not standing up, you don't have enough movement.
I was sitting
Drawing the
down.
bow back.
I was sitting down when I shot that buck.
Were you?
Yeah, I don't actually would prefer to be sitting down when I shoot if I can, but
There's so much you've got to
Shakes
do,
away.
and if they come in together, you got. I remember in 2020 Beamer, it was 50-50 whether or not filming cost it or not, but I know it didn't help. I had to stand up, you get your bow, turn, pop the camera on right away, get it on them, and I know it was pointed towards the general direction, but I mean that's a hell of a lot of movement. He ended up bumping her right to the base of my ladder, and she got nervous. He saw her, and it wasn't good for the next 2 minutes, and then it was a matter of time, and he took off. And
I
it doesn't
remember you
help if
saying-
they don't take the best path either. Because I remember the one that I was going to shoot his 9-pointer, he ended up cutting behind me. So then it's like, all right, what do I do with the camera now?
Yeah.
I mean, in between the tree and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, when pinchers came in back in 2019, I had them positioned on a trail that I thought the doe and him were going to come on. Then all of a sudden he comes all the way around me. Well, I'm like, I'm going to keep the camera right there and just shoot back here and then try to get back on him. Then I got back on him. He ran into the food plot and just stood there and hunched up for a little bit. I'm like, uh-oh, either liver or guts.
I don't mean to bring it up, and then you had that other one that didn't quite work out on Swearingen's, right?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that later. That was the year before, different camera.
What buck was that again?
That was,
9 Lives.
We called him 9 Lives, yeah.
We had a
And
pretty
Dustin
cool
saw him
encounter.
too,
with
yeah.
him.
That
Same
was-
year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I missed him
It was after you.
October
Had your
15th.
mess up, too.
Yeah. I think that
Ours was
morning
closer
was
to Rut.
October.
29th, 28th. It was somewhere.
It was
somewhere getting
early
good.
20th, I think. Yeah.
Sounds like a fitting name for him then, huh?
Yeah, literally. Well, the year before, too, the first time hunting there, he was in the ditch going through, and I brought out the rattling horns, rattled a couple times, and he went on a dime and just ran right to us. And I was hunting with my dad that night. He's like, holy crap, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Then a couple of weeks later, me and Bernsey were hunting over in a different spot, and he was running right up the ridge after a doe, and he looked really big coming in. I'm like, oh, I know that one. He needs one more year at least.
Shout out Josh Burns. I filmed that guy.
True.
Kill a
Shout out
buck.
Josh Burns.
Josh Burns, where you at, man?
10 ringed him.
Miss ya.
Yeah, where is that guy nowadays?
I believe he's out in the Carolinas still.
Killing a
Carolinas.
100-pound deer.
What are those deer called out there? Obviously, do you even know?
Yeah, they have a different name, I think, don't they?
They're not.
Do they?
Well,
Oh,
there's a
sad.
different. They got whitetails,
Different
obviously, but there's a
subspecies?
different. Yeah, there's a different thing.
I don't. Yeah, it's not a whitetail. I don't think, but
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
no idea.
Anyway,
I was
Okay.
going to say, just recently, how was the bear hunt up in old Canada?
oh, yeah.
Talk about this. Yeah, the successful.
That was.
a little bit.
It's always good to get a kill on camera right away to start the year. It's just like shooting a doe right away. It knocks the rust off and everything. Me and my dad, my nephew, all went up there.
Where were you at?
Swan River, Manitoba. And I'd like to say that I hunted hard, but I was in the tree for probably 2 hours before I shot mine.
First day,
Yeah.
first hunt.
Yep.
Yeah,
They have it down packed up there. It's insane.
How
They're
long
like-
of a drive is it up there?
It was like 13
I
hours.
didn't
I
realize
think.
you went to Manitoba. I mean, I've been to Ontario. That's a drive up there in itself. Manitoba is that much further west.
Yeah. Yep.
Manitoba's is that like north of the Dakotas then, or what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How far up into Canada is that place?
It was probably 6 hours at least, 6-7 hours.
So, I mean, your drive
Yeah.
is nothing short of 12, 13.
It was a little more than 13, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. And then the first night too, my dad and my nephew were sitting together, and my nephew was just sold on shooting a brown bear the whole time. And I think there was like a 300-pounder came in. He's like, Carson, you want to shoot him? He's like, no, I don't want to. So it's like, oh, I guess he's holding up for the brown bear.
How
Then,
many nights was it that he decided? Then
That was just the first night, but
second night, he's like, okay.
yeah. But that first night, a 410-pounder come in, and he didn't even want to shoot that one because he was so sold on that brown bear. My dad ended up shooting him, even though he said, I don't even know if I need to shoot one this year. I got so many of them. Another one to the bear den downstairs at the cabin.
Yeah, it's a nice 10.
Yeah.
Bear hunting's awesome.
That's always been one of the bucket lists. I had the one tag, but
Yeah.
that up here in Wisconsin, once those acorns fall,
Yeah.
you might
Yeah,
as well
we
not
tried-
even go.
We tried baiting over in Modena that one time, too.
For first week, it looked like it was slam dunk. This is going to be easy.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of bait. And then it was real quick. I mean,
It's like a light
it
switch.
was a
that
week,
just
10 days.
disappeared.
That was it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? And that was before cell cams.
Yeah.
So that would save a ton of work. But instead,
Back in the old days.
so every, 3-4 days, I think right away I checked it 3-4 days later, and he had hit it the very first day. I mean, we're talking hours after we had left. And then from there on out, I think I checked it 3, 4, 5-ish times. And then by the 5th time, I'm like, man, I'm not coming back here for 2 weeks. I come back here and I'm disappointed every time. And if something is messing with it, I check the camera there. It would end up being a bunch of coon and
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the worst part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when my
wasn't
uncle
good.
did it for me. He baited every single day and had a couple giants. But yeah, once those acorns hit,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you coming over?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Nope.
Where was that again? You went?
Neilsville.
Neilsville.
Yeah. There's a cabin
remember
over there. There's a
that.
bunch of bear over there, but yeah, he said
Did you guys know
nothing
I got a
even-
bear tag this year?
Yeah.
I haven't even bought my license yet, but I'm
Well,
probably
wait
gonna
now.
buy if I do go hunting on Rob's, and if the bucks ever move in there. Right now, it's been a doe farm, which is odd because last year it wasn't that at all. But something moves in there and I go there, I'm gonna hopefully buy my license, prior and just so I got it. If I don't hunt there, I'm probably not gonna buy it. Just waste my money. But last year, my grandpa had a pretty damn big one come right into the pond and drank, got down on its elbows, if you could say, drank and turned around and went right out of there. He said it was really
Dang.
funny. I didn't want to get its feet wet. It was super odd. But
Just wing it with no
they're
bait.
all over there. That's closer towards between Oliva and Gelmonton. But we had 5-6 bears minimum, different ones last year. And this year it's not been as many, but the neighbor 2 line fences down is baiting. So I don't know if he's pulling more that way.
Well, and that was the thing over by
going on?
Neilsville, too. There's so many people that bait,
Oh yeah.
which once they find yours, they'll hit it, but there's just so many baits around that, I mean, you could have how many? I mean, we saw trucks at the end of the dead end road and whatnot, but
If you're late, if you're not on top of your shit and they come there 2 times a time and it's not there, they're probably not making the effort.
yeah, and that's Clark County Forest, too, so you got all that public, so
Oh dang.
yeah, people are just, you could probably walk 100 yards and walk by how many baits.
True.
so,
You have to get way deep in there to get away from everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a tag a couple years ago.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Would you get scared of the big black wolf you had a picture of? Didn't you have
Yeah,
a
that thing was
wolf?
scary.
Dude,
And dude, when I was up there, my stand that I only went to one stand, I had multiple pictures of wolves. One was a big black one, and then I met a guy in the parking lot. Said like a couple of nights before I met him, he said he saw a mountain lion. So I had my pistol like in my hand.
Yeah.
Was it a reliable source? You never know who
It
you're running
sounded
up
like he
to
knew
in
what he
the-
was talking
Clark-
about. It wasn't
Clark County
some.
I mean,
Forest.
you're bear hunting
It could
in
be
a
a
dense
could be a
population.
hinker
You're
up
probably
there.
bringing a pistol anyways.
Oh yeah, but I was holding on to it after he told me that. I don't like mountain lions.
That's-
Those things are scary.
I will say all those baiting trips, that
You were being kind of a whiner, dude.
Well, that's the thing too. You
Dude.
got to be consistent with them in order to keep them coming in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Neilsville is a haul from Mondovi.
yeah.
When I went, I was up by Shatek.
Oh,
It was like deep
Still,
in the
yeah.
public.
Oh,
The skeeters were the worst part
Oh,
about
man.
it, dude. It was terrible.
they were actually pretty good this year when we went. Other years they were
holy
just so bad.
We had to buy like head nets. They were just attached
head
to
nets
the
and
face and everything.
sweatshirts when it was 90 degrees just to get the mosquitoes off you.
It was rough.
As cool as it would be, it'd make me miss sitting in a deer stand.
Yeah.
Dealing with all that. I'll work on planting a food plot in the summertime and be done with it.
I just want my one bear and we can call it good.
Yeah.
Wisconsin
I'm with you.
did.
I already got 3 points again.
Yeah.
I just
Oh, you got it then. I mean, it don't take
Yeah.
shit to get.
It's hard to find like a good spot to like bait bear where you're not going to be like deer hunting and everything. Like I know I won't throw them off probably as much as you think, but the spot that me and Dustin were baiting for a while was like one of our best early season spots over
Yeah.
there too, looking back at
Yeah.
it. But that was a good spot. There's always bear over on that farm though too. They always move in eventually.
we should probably get off the bears and get back to
Yeah, deer hunting.
something that we know what we're talking
Deer
about.
hunting.
Yeah, no crap. Yeah, we all
Sure.
don't have a bear to show for in Wisconsin, but you guys just went to Iowa not too long ago. How'd that go?
What was that, a couple weeks ago? Went down there. I got a lease down there this year. Finally, me and Jake finally drew tags after, 5 years as a group here. We said we were going to
Yeah.
start throwing in points, and then both of you missed a year?
I didn't.
I remember those.
I got
texts.
a late start because I was pulling a student resident.
Oh,
tag
yeah.
Yeah,
for a
I
couple of
remember
years.
Mitch's text, so he missed a year. I was
Yeah.
like, bruh.
headed in my cart.
So, yeah,
Oh,
me and,
no.
Rookie mistake.
me and Jake both drew, and I found a lease down there, 300 acres. So I didn't really want to go public. This guy,
He's
he
a
wanted
public
to go public.
creature.
So
Sorry, I
He's
cannot
into working
afford.
hard.
yeah, so
Public is really good down there, though. I mean, obviously, people listening probably know it's one of those things. I mean, I'm sure my buddies want me to say it sucks, but it doesn't. You put your time in, and there's so much of it. I
There's
think
a lot of
knowing
public,
where to
yeah.
go is hard, and what was good last year isn't good the next year based on pressure, crop rotation, who knows? But I think it's one of those things. I always say if I lived down there full time, didn't have school and stuff to worry about like I did when I was down there previously, you put your time in and
you got
bounce around.
That's the biggest thing.
Cameras, utilize your what you can. You're gonna run into big deer.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing of why I wanted to get the lease is the time. I mean now. I mean you get kids, and then just summer in general for all of us is just insane for plans. So it's like when we got down there, that was the first week down in Iowa. I mean, so it's different. Yeah, if you're living down there, but
in gas alone, you're spending $175
it's not
for
like
a trip.
Yeah, we're not even an hour away. I mean, we're 5.5, 6 hours away. So that was my biggest thing. So I put up 4 tacked cams down there, and we'll see what it is. I mean, there's some pretty good deer movement right now, but I think it's kind of even up here with our cams. It's kind of that period from like the summer groups, and that little dead gap of the summer movement to the fall movement.
Yeah.
You
But
get a couple borderline bucks maybe on your lease.
Yeah,
a lot of showing up already, but
a lot of 8-pointers. There's one 8-pointer that's a big old body on him, but not going down there for an 8-pointer, something that can shoot up here.
Yeah, holding out for a good.
We'll wait. It's a pretty cool property. That grass down there, all that CRP there is bedding galore because that grass is
a big ditch going up through the middle too.
4 or 5 feet tall, just thick, and there's a lot of standing beans too. So we saw some decent sign. Obviously, it was tough with the grass just to see where the trails are, so it was kind of hard to kind of narrow down. So I was kind of thinking to maybe go down, I don't know, another weekend before everything ramps up, and maybe just check to see because scrape should be popping up here. So
big time.
Maybe move a few things around, but
I easily could have stopped by there on my way last weekend.
I know
Kansas City, drove right by where we went.
Did you put some regular cameras out too, or just tacked cams?
Just 4 tacked cams.
Dang.
Just because then I didn't know. I was like, well,
they're
gonna be sitting down there. I mean,
yeah.
So we'll see. The one on the far west is by a pond, and I kind of thought that'd be a better field road for the farmer down there, but it wasn't mowed at all. So I think Jake and we were a little wiped after that. So I was like, all right, we're just putting this here and we're walking back to the truck because
it was warm out.
It was warm, and just walking through that grass was
carrying ladder stands. And
how many did you get up? How many stands?
2. Put one on the north end because there's a tree line that's going from the north to the south. So I put one on the north side and one on the south side. And
shout out Cole's brother-in-law for putting those together.
Shout out Drew Iolia. If you shoot a deer that goes over the neighbor's ridge, I'll throw it on my back and carry it back to the house for you.
That guy's already tagged out.
Yeah, he is tagged out already. First night, he got all antsy.
Wow.
Yep.
I've never even come close to doing that.
Some people just got it.
I went after a buck. We went after a buck opening morning this year, which is super rare.
Opening morning?
Well, you know the location I had, it was 100% a morning spot, early season even. I mean, for one, he was there in the morning. For 2, I've had a great idea where he was feeding. I could backdoor access right through a cattle pasture with the wind in our face the whole time. We didn't end up seeing much, but looking back at it, it's like one of those deals. It's a buck that I wouldn't be disappointed with, but do I want to give up my whole year? And, I don't know. Leave him to be 4. So, probably a deer come rut I'm likely going to shoot, especially on camera, but now there's new deer that pop up. It seems like every year. Later on, and it just if a booner or something legit popped up, I'd be kicking myself in the ass. Which then I'll eat my tag again for the 4th year in a row and say I should have just
kills the kill.
Broke the
that's
ice.
Right,
but
patience.
I'm
on year 5 again already.
There just comes a point where you get sick of letting stuff go, and whether it gets shot by the neighbor or doesn't do.
Sounds like my
doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't do, nothing happens.
Talking about opening
sooner or later
morning or early season morning hunts. I don't think I've done that since I was about 18.
That's
I
what I was saying about him.
We grew out of that about 17, 18 years old, and we realized we were just spooking deer.
Ask Jake about that.
Yeah,
that was a
remember that one?
Yeah, I remember
was a big.
I remember what we told you too. I think
No, definitely
Yeah.
not.
Oh, we
You
preached
got
it.
to tell us that. If you don't want to tell it, I'll tell it, and you'll probably
You don't
I'll tell
know
it
the
better
story.
than I do.
Pretty boy, we named him. I think I was 18.
Coming
Yeah.
in every
Right,
evening,
just
right?
graduated.
Oh, yeah.
We had that thing in every night. A really just a stud of an 8-pointer, like a rounded rack. It curled in. Super nice buck. Coming in every evening, probably every morning too. And I was just
Evening.
Probably every morning. That's why I
Yeah.
went.
Dude, he was definitely in the morning. Get
It
on
was
it.
some in the morning,
Give
but I
yourself some
mean,
credit, quick.
not like the evening. He was there like every single night.
Dude,
at
I
6
was
o'clock.
chomping at the bit the whole summer.
Yeah.
He was there like every day. Go in there.
And how the story ends is even better. So what happened in the morning? The opening morning of bow hunting?
Dude, crawl in there real nice and quiet. Don't break a stick on the way in.
Spooked him
Set
off
up
the
so
food.
Got a
I'm
great
sure.
wind. Get in there. Never saw a deer. I don't think he was on camera like the whole year until like late season.
Weeks and weeks after that one day. It's just sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but sometimes it does. That's why certain times being around
I seriously,
anal
don't,
hunters, it gets old. I mean, but
I seriously don't think I've hunted
it only
in the
takes
morning
once.
early season since that, and that's been probably 8 years.
What
Yeah. I
was the
mean-
date on that when you went hunting there?
Opening morning.
That was opening morning.
Yeah,
think it was, yeah.
September 15th.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
probably.
so
Yeah.
I could probably, I don't know if I would have his picture.
It's
anymore.
usually around.
Do you know if you had
15,
him like
16,
years
17.
before or anything either?
I think we had him the year before.
Did he do
I
the
think it was
same
probably
thing?
a 4-year-old buck. It was a stud of an 8-pointer.
He was just, yeah, I mean, 8-pointer, probably what, 130?
It's not going to
maybe
score that much.
140?
It's an
I mean,
8-pointer, but it was a.
probably
It
not
was
quite
like a. It
140.
was a. I would have shot it still this year. It was a stud of an 8-pointer.
yeah, he just, yeah. I
You
don't
guys
have
did
his
not
pictures
have a
anymore.
pond there at that time, did you?
No,
No, that was when we were hunting in the Little Woods. I mean, the only stand. So, yeah, I remember telling you when you said, oh, I'm going to go out for him. I was like, I don't know, man. He's there like 6 o'clock every night.
well,
Just
maybe.
let him get to his bed.
Maybe old wise brother could have been a little more convincing, and I would have had another one on the wall. But
You with your thick skull, there's no convince you.
probably not.
Yeah.
Just don't.
He
let
could have
him
moved
next
on.
time.
He could have
Maybe.
just changed his fall.
But he fell in love a couple miles away. I heard so. I didn't spook him. I don't think.
His range might have
Hey.
just shifted a little bit too, or you were just really smelly.
Yeah.
Probably was. Dude.
Yeah, your perfect win might not have been perfect, but we all learn. I mean,
Yeah.
No,
Learn the hard
exactly.
way.
especially I mean, we haven't hunted mornings. I mean, I don't now. I mean, with the kid too. I mean, I don't even bother going out till like mid-October.
Yeah.
Just because our property doesn't really set up for early season at all. I mean,
Yeah.
One thing that kind of like surprised me talking about the early season, everybody's on the like our hunting pages on Facebook and stuff. I saw a lot of deer get killed the opening weekend.
Opening morning, even
Opening
I saw a
morning,
couple.
too, so
That
it's
one
like-
really thick one you sent,
Was it?
or
Yeah.
you sent.
I sent
that
that
was
one.
a
The
morning
8-pointer.
That was a morning too. What?
yeah.
So
Well,
it's not
it
like it
can
doesn't
happen,
happen,
yeah.
but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
It's
Low
risky,
odds.
and you got to have the perfect spot. It
yeah,
all
it
depends
is.
on your
It is
spot.
risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I normally wouldn't have done it like I said, but that spot, the access in there is just
Yeah. That's
picture
another reason
perfect.
why
So
I went with. I'm like, you know what? I kind of itching to get out there too. So
it was fun.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then to go after a buck too. Sometimes you're not hunting a buck until
Yeah.
the rut, and it's a hope and a prayer. You know,
Well,
in some
and that-
seasons.
yeah.
Mitch just wanted to laugh
was
when
a-
we booted it out.
This
of
was
there.
we expect to see him, and
Told you.
I had in the back of my mind, I'm like, what if we see him and he's not quite what he is on the pictures? Like,
He's got a.
But we would've
what,
still broke G3.
too?
but
Is
I'm
it
like, well,
broke off? I thought it was like bent.
It's halfway
Like half,
broke off. He
yeah.
bent it in velvet, but I'm like, well, even if we don't, we're gonna get some footage that we'll have forever, and it'll be
Yeah.
cool. Whether he gets shot later this year and next year, it'd be cool. But
Yeah.
That was kind of like last year when you just sent that picture too. I mean, the 22nd. I mean, get out there, and that's probably the earliest I've been out. But it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you
Well, yeah, I
got
remember you were out
got
that
Billy
night
out
too,
there,
yeah.
and it went from 80 to 60 the
Mhm,
next
mhm.
day. So it's like, we better try. But it's like,
yeah.
in the end, I mean, probably shouldn't have. But Billy wasn't too consistent.
That
last
broke
year.
our hearts.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely kind of teased us. I mean, he wasn't like
Yeah.
steady at all, but just enough where, oh, here's a picture for you.
yeah,
Let's wait a little bit.
But
Oh,
he
here's
was
another
Around.
one. It's
I'm
like,
still around. Trust me.
yeah.
He was
I
a
look good
Still like
too.
it.
he was a rambling man, traveling man, dude. We had him. I don't remember the dates, but we had him in our food plot in daylight last year, and then me and Cole went out to kill him. We're like, oh, here we go, we're gonna kill him finally. I was filming Cole, and then got the text from our uncle that neighbor killed him like over a mile away. We're like, what the heck, dude?
Don't you love those hunts though when you have a daylight picture and you're going in there and you're like on the edge of your
High
seat, you're like, you
anticipation.
should
The
come
whole
out
time
any
you're
Dude,
second.
when me and
You're
you
just
went
ready.
after Johnny's buck the first time,
I-
it's definitely the quietest I've ever walked into the woods. I was like, oh my God, there's a 190 in here.
When you just know, you're like, oh my gosh.
What did you think of that access getting in there?
It was pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
I was just locked in on not making a peep and like,
touching a stick. I thought we were gonna see him that night for sure.
You saw him the next night, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
when I brought in the hang on,
First
you know,
podcast,
carried it
guys.
in, just
Scratchy
squeezing the life out of that thing so it didn't clank the metal. Like,
Yeah. God dang. What a deer.
should have put that up.
They
there,
all
Mike.
break our hearts.
Should have.
Yeah,
I was
feel
like, you had a
even
little
know.
educational.
I feel like Dustin
couple years
Nelson
ago,
with all
too.
these heartbreak stories. All these
I've got a
deer.
lot of heartbreaks. We don't have
I mean,
enough
we
time
all
for
do,
them all.
but yeah.
I almost forgot about the story of Beamer till he brought it up again. Thought he was gonna shed a tear quick.
Yeah. No, he wasn't one of the bigger ones I've been hunting and not, had it work out, but it was the
Candlesticks.
closest I ever came. He was 20
I
yards.
shouldn't say hunted because I don't think you ever hunted.
No.
I got after him a couple times.
No,
but
dude. Which one's the biggest heartbreak? Candlesticks? Which I don't think it is.
Thumbs.
Thumbs, or it's either thumbs or
Clifford.
Mr. Heavy.
Mr. Heavy.
Mr. Heavy's
G4.
gotta
I'd
be
say
up there.
Mr. Heavy is probably highest or the most reaction out of you.
That was.
Well, yeah, 'cause-
Yeah, because what hurt me the
What hurt
most
me the most.
is
Play Rascal Flats.
it was two, because you're not going to get everyone, and if it's somebody it's fun. Congratulations, but had two booners on camera that year, which was first time having a booner in 5 years, which is not complaining. But 2 in 1 year, this is the year. It's awesome. Something's going to happen, and both were dead before October 22nd.
That's wild.
I think one got killed the 20th and the 22nd. I could be a day off in there, but it was right, boom, boom, back to back. And I'm like, I got a week off in first week in November. What am
didn't
I
wanna
going
go
to do?
hunt
This is
No,
wasting-
yeah, remember that in the
wasting
group
my
chat?
time. I'm done
Oh,
hunting.
man.
Everyone's like, "Oh, we need a status update on everyone." Duddy's like, "I'm in the recliner."
What you
Well.
don't know is at home or in those blinds that he hunts.
Oh yeah, true.
True.
With
We
the
just
socks
sent-
off.
Sent a
blinds.
welfare check after Dustin after that.
And it was
Good,
just
you
one of
all
those
right?
moods. It was being negative, but even you rely on cell cams and regular cameras so much, and that's what kind of wrecked it for me there. I had 2 giants. Those guys got shot. Even there was a couple 4-year-olds then after that where it's like beautiful deer, but when I had my heart set on something else,
Mr. Heavy.
to shoot that,
Well,
it's just like I'm not going to be happy. Why am I going to go to the woods?
Well, and
kill
how
it?
often does that
Maybe he'll
happen
live
with people?
next year.
Like, you have one deer, you're just like, I'm only going after this deer, and now it's like, okay, then another one comes by. We're
It
like,
happens all the time, and yeah, shouldn't complain. 'Cause there's so many. Most time nowadays, with as much pressure and cameras, that everybody has, every big buck has probably got, depending on the area,
Yeah,
5
I
at
mean,
least. Sometimes even more people
most
hunting
people
it.
know about
Yeah.
it.
When he's 5-6 years old, I've seen him. I've had encounter. I've had pictures. You name it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, one guy gets to kill it, and
Yep.
hopefully you're, if it's not you, hopefully it's a family member. Hopefully it's a good buddy, somebody
Yep.
Last 2 bucks
It's
I've
not-
killed,
You hope they did it. You hope they did it the right way. So
last 2 bucks I've killed, we've had big ones where like you want to hold out for them, but your chances aren't that high. I killed obviously the smaller ones,
Yep.
but you see, like, worked for Mitch Sam and Johnny's buck. Remember we were calling him crazy for letting go
Lebo.
Yeah.
Lebo. We're like,
I was just looking back at my notes tonight.
those texts are awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was looking back because every time I go out, I say like what the date is, what DeerCast says to see if it's like pretty accurate, and
Yeah.
it's pretty damn accurate. But I was just looking back. I think it was September 28th or 27th last year that I saw Lebo. And then I'm like, what am I even doing hunting here anymore? Like, I should not hunt anywhere else but there because I'm not going to shoot anything else. I was just going for a doe that night anyway, but I'm like, nope, I'm giving up doe hunting too.
it's a feeling. Yeah. And I've
mean-
had that feeling back in 16. I was hunting thumbs. It was a 180-inch like mainframe 9, ridiculously big deer.
Insane.
I went to set my grandpa's, which is, still love the spot, and there was a big buck over there, and I was questioning going there the whole time because I'm like, I'm not going to kill thumbs here, but it's a good spot. I'm going to go. And it hits you when you sit down in that tree and you look around and you're like, there's no chance I see him tonight. What am I actually doing? It's in the back of your head the whole time, but I just remember sitting there. I'm like, I shouldn't be here, man. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
you get that. You get so.
When Mitch
into
sent the
one
picture
deer,
of
it
the
just
camera
sucks.
of Lebo 5 yards away, I just remember all caps. I said, "Bro, what are you doing?"
Take me with you
And
next time.
that's a deer that I would have shot 10 out of 10 times.
Neighbors
That's what
got
I
him
know.
That thing was a
Okay.
stud.
Neighbors
Shoulda
got
took,
him last year.
Should have
Yeah.
took Jake with you.
What
Yeah.
does he end
He
up
said it was a
scoring?
cold buck.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect thing to tell
Perfect
your,
one to take
that-
out.
tell your
That
fa-
is one thing. I mean, what did he end up scoring?
Lebo? I don't even know.
No.
Probably didn't even
Yes.
score it because it was a cold buck.
Yeah. But that is one of those things. I mean, like,
mid
you
upper
got a
40s,
stud there, but it's like
maybe bigger.
when you got Johnny's buck, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like that is one of those things where you're kind of like, okay, why am I even hunting Lebo and Johnny's buck is
I can't believe where Lebo came from because I literally parked in the ditch and walked up the edge of the woods on some, like the edge of the corn too. Just walked right up in the blind. I'm looking out. I saw another little buck kind of playing in the corn. I'm like, okay, cool. Look back. A couple does are filtering out. Then I look back and he's literally 10 steps away. I was like, what is going on right now?
That was nuts. He probably didn't score a ton, did he? But he was heavy
No.
and
it was
Yeah.
still
old.
nice though. Old.
The year
deer.
before, even
See many 5.5-year-old
yeah,
bucks.
as a 4-year-old deer blower, he was probably 145, 150. He was a 10-pointer with a kicker off his G2, I believe. And then actually, our neighbors let him go late season, which shout out to them. Otherwise, we would have never seen him this year. But
That's a first though. Not a first, but how many?
shots
A
fired.
couple of years ago. Sorry, any neighbors, but
We're for the people.
20. What was it? 17, 8. It was 18, I think.
I think
All
it was
that buck
before
we
that
let
even.
I was filming you. We let go multiple times late season.
Christmas.
Just a slammer of a deer. He had lost not half his rack, but good 20, 30
Half his
inches.
side, yeah.
Similar to what Trix did last year. And it was January. I mean, you were letting him go after Christmas.
Yeah. Well, he came.
You're letting Christmas go after Christmas.
Well, he
Not-
came
not a,
in when my dad was doe hunting during the T-zone too, and my dad just took a picture of him. I was like,
And-
Jesus.
I mean, he was there every night. You would have thought he'd be safe, but
Yeah.
maybe he ran a little low on food. He liked somewhere else, and neighbor popped him freaking January 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, something.
Well,
right at
I
the end.
remember
It's like
our beans were
Well, that
slim
deer-
to none at that time too. We didn't
there's
have
30 deer in
very-
him the night, but
Yeah.
that deer, who knows? You're always going to guess and probably guess high, but I think he was booing all day long if he makes it.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the weird thing. Like
Just a stud.
with Billy, I mean, you get to that late season and you're kind of in that situation where you're like, do you want to hunt that deer, or he made it through the entire season? So it's like, I mean, around here, I mean, I've hardly ever done any late season hunting. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's kind of the thing where your mind is made up. You're like, okay, you're going to take the chance because he made it through. So it's like, well,
You
let's
are.
give him the year instead of
Yeah.
popping. But like Billy, I mean,
We could have killed him, but
Billy was
he had
in the food plot and the
broken
beans
time.
every single night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously we didn't have like daylight picture, but I mean, he's there at 4:00 right after
yeah,
the
he's
sun
probably in
goes
the
down.
field
and
prior.
He's
yeah.
probably, just barely there. It's like, so you could have killed him, but
Yeah.
it's at the same time, it's like, well,
Lucky
a
for you,
broken
you did
time.
find a shed.
Yeah, that was
On
cool.
one
That was
shed.
cool.
That was like
but
in April, wasn't it?
that
one
was
thing to counter.
was late.
the,
we were planting trees.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
He just sends a picture. He's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, the letting them go late season, like there's a few ways to look at it too. You got to know what the deer is doing and know your farm. I mean, if he's only wintering on your property, yeah, it's cool to let him go. And you did let him go, found a shed, got pictures of him the following year, so all positives there. But if say you got a farm where they're hanging out there late season, and or that buck in particular just there for your bean field,
yeah,
you're letting him go, knowing damn well that he probably.
isn't good.
All summer long, all rut, he likes it a mile away from
Yeah.
now. You're doing your neighbors a big favor there,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
I suppose
really
your
just-
own deer. I mean, like Billy, we knew he was
but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if it's late season and he's not something that you're going to put on your wall, shoulder mount, I think you make
Another
a good,
thing,
good
he was
decision, but
busted up that year too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
He had one broke time for
Yeah.
sure.
He broke his both. What was his right? Like G3 or G4. Both years.
One was his 2, I thought, and one was his 3,
Yeah.
because he was pretty busted up. Or
Yeah.
maybe, or I think one was only like half broken, because it was still almost borderline that we wanted to kill him, but it was probably just because he was there every single day.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
the ones that got away.
That was yeah. We were planting trees and
We
me
should
and
have
Jake,
I think
That
we
was
should
wild.
designate a podcast somewhere down the road just on the ones that got away. It's going to be a good one.
We'll all be leaving with tears in our
I feel like I'm going to do most of the talking.
Well,
No,
yeah,
everybody,
podcast
we've
could
all
be
had
hours
all
long.
had
True.
those tough ones, and
Oh,
Kenichi
yeah.
had a
I've
handful
tagged out
too.
one buck in 12 years.
Yeah, I know.
What have you been
Talking
doing?
about, huh?
You been hunting or no?
Well,
I'm
yeah,
no
I mean,
expert.
you're hunting
You got married
basically
as a kid.
120
got
acres
a
on a
house.
little
I got
lease.
kids, man.
I got kids, man.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's tough.
You got
I mean, it's still
120
tougher.
acres and what? 20 of it is wooded
Yeah,
right now.
Maybe.
Right now,
Stay tuned.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm buying stock on the Eid fund.
You're gonna get me
Dude, I'll tell you what. I mean,
all excited here.
you put in some money. I mean, Jake and I have been doing it. What was this? The 6th year now of buying trees.
Yep, planting
Plant
trees.
every year. You're going to keep planting them, right?
We're gonna
right?
keep planting,
That's
like,
good. That way,
We've done 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, 1,000, but like this last year, like we had everything covered with like the grass areas. So now this last year we did like, what was it, 100, 200 of
And we did
bigger trees. I mean, so you
we did
cut it
2 or
way
3.
down.
I thought we still did 200 or 300, but yeah, they're
Yeah, I
bigger
mean,
though.
You cut it down,
Okay.
but you're just getting bigger size to try to
jump.
cut that gap from the ones that we already planted. And
There has been a couple of years where it was like drought really bad right after we planted, so like we try to fill in gaps and stuff, but there's some of them that are really jumping up. So
What
it's
do you
gonna be
say?
cool
And it
soon.
varies, but what do you say your growth rate for your trees? I mean, not growth rate, growth percentage. The ones that actually make it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty
'Cause
good
I've
actually.
had tough luck and I've had good luck. This year was tough on. my
I'm-
own little
I'm
place.
going to say just from shed hunting and not looking at all spots that it's over 50% are still living.
I would say
Pretty
for
dang good.
sure over 50%.
Because
Good. I think
those,
that's got to be your goal. Most guys is probably 50%.
yeah, I mean
You're being
that,
realistic, unless you got time to go out there and care for them weekly, and you're planting them on good
well, you ain't doing
good
that
soil.
with
But
7,000 trees.
Yeah, we're like, we don't get rain for a month.
You
Like,
might-
oh man, we got to go water the trees.
Yeah.
There's like
I
6,000
could
trees.
do that for my apple trees. I had 12 of them in the yard. I'm still under 50% on those.
Yeah.
So.
Dang. So what species of trees do you guys all have in the
We've-
ground right now?
So the first couple of years we did white pine and white spruce. First year was kind of junky because we got those from the DNR.
Oh yeah, those
Sorry,
are. It's like,
they were junk.
Love
they're
the
like
DNR.
sticking a number 2
But-
pencil in the ground.
Yeah. And then after that, we got them from somewhere else, and they were way better. And that was the same. It was white pine, white spruce. And then just recently, Dad enrolled how many acres into CRP? So we put in white pine, white spruce, oaks, and then shrubs with crab apples,
Yeah,
plums, and
hazelnut.
hazelnuts. Which I'm not sure how those are because all that grass is growing up, so you can't even hardly see.
Have you ever had a plum from a plum tree? Like
Dude, I
not
love
the plums you get
plums.
at the store
There's
that
plum
are
trees
big, but
all
they're
over
an
our
actual
place.
plum tree.
They're good.
They're insane. They got a seed in the middle. I had probably, I don't know. I think the first one I've had is just this summer at least we got.
Don't swallow the pit. Dude.
Oh my goodness.
A
I'm
tree will
like,
grow
I'm
inside.
never eating an apple again after having one of those.
We've
I'm
got
like,
quite a few by
Yeah,
our
they're
place.
all
Really?
Health God.
they are
On the dead end road right there, before the house, there's a ton of them. They're really good.
Yeah, I
got me
will
is they
say-
didn't look nothing like I had plums when I was a kid from the grocery store or whatever. They're bigger, purple, but I'm like, that's a plum, no chance. My grandpa was telling me, and I tried it. I'm like, okay.
No chance.
You know what that
Okay.
reminds me of down in Iowa this year?
Oh yeah.
You're walking along the tree line or the fence line of his lease, and not shitting you, like the size of a grapefruit, it looked like a big ass tennis ball. And it's like some
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah, what
apple
are those
tree.
called?
Like what?
You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah, they're not grapefruits. They're
Damon said there's some sort of apple. They were
Yeah, what did he
rock
say that
hard.
was?
horses really
Yeah.
like them.
And
I
they
know
were
that.
super.
I forget the name.
Dude, I don't
of
know
them,
how
but
anything could.
they're all
eat
over
that.
down in southern Iowa. There's
like
a
a-
bunch on the
Did he
public
say
too.
like not a hack?
It was some sort of apple.
It is a weird apple, but
Yeah.
I
It
would
was
have
like
never guessed
super-
that was an apple because it was
yellow, right?
harder
Kinda
than hell.
yellowish.
kind of
Yeah.
yellow. It was
Yeah.
like super.
It looked like a walnut.
It was super
Yeah,
bumpy.
big-
it
big
looked
ass
as
walnut.
hard as hard as hell. It was like real weird texture on the outside too.
Dude, I have a random weird memory with hunts, but I remember David Lindsay shot a buck, and there was a whole bunch of those on the ground right before he shot him. I don't know why I thought of that.
Are those things we're talking about now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
over there.
that name's gonna
Call up Damon quick. What the hell are those things?
I can't remember what he said those
Damon?
were. But
Damon sent me a snap the other day going to hunting. He's hunting urban right now. He's like got the road right here, walking on the sidewalk to get to his stand.
jeez.
Oh,
I
man.
remember getting that snap last year. There was a guy riding his bike, walking his dogs, going right by him. Anybody listening, there's not any big deer in the urban area in Iowa. And then
Does.
just does that he's trying to hunt. So.
We're definitely going to have to cut that out, dude.
No,
Wow,
I think
way to
he's just
locate.
trying to kill a 2-year-old.
How many does did he have to kill, though?
5.
So I thought it was
That's
7.
a little much.
I think it's
that-
5.
That was a
Maybe you're
lot.
right on 7.
That
But it
is
was
a-
5, and it's legit. You can't cheat and shoot a deer on your,
He
your normal
grinded
land.
that out,
That's
too.
a mission right there.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And they're smart. I mean, the ones that live in there.
The guy's a dog.
He got that dog in him.
The guy hunted legit daily. I mean, for them does late season, and
Just so
he had one awesome night where he killed 3 in a night. Otherwise, he didn't think he'd
Wow.
get to 5.
Claims
So-
to be a nice guy. He gave me that public stand, but he won't let me sit that urban spot. So not that
I don't think
nice.
you won.
I
That's
don't
a,
think
is
he
that,
got a tag either. So
Yeah,
that's
that's-
is that a
says.
different tag?
Oh yeah,
Urban. It is.
urban. Yeah, so he could shoot an urban buck and keep hunting.
Dang.
Yeah. But we better
I know.
stop talking about that before I get a text
Next.
message.
I'm pretty excited though about Iowa.
It's not live, but
I would be, too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What?
I'm pretty excited about Iowa.
Out.
No shit. Huh?
Pretty excited.
Yeah. I mean,
It's good, but let me tell you, I was 0 for 3 down there. But I did also. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I legit
That's
let
tough.
go some, upper 40s, low 50s deer. I mean, and I had one sit hunting with a friend of mine,
And
Ted.
one miss, too.
I was gonna say. Was
I
that
had a
one of the
miss, I had a
shotgun to
missed
let go?
shotgun, but the one sit I had, and I didn't hardly see a shooter all year down there. But it was November 10th, extremely cold, and I was going to try to hunt all day because it was a set kind of a spot.
You got footage
You've
that
seen it.
morning, too, didn't you?
Yeah, I got footage of it.
Still
I know.
remember
I
that, too.
That one that's facing away, but he turns all the way around.
turns around.
that
Yeah,
thing is
that
huge.
9-pointer is a monster. It was
Yeah.
without.
How's that?
Probably still today, that's no question the biggest deer I've seen in the woods.
Wow.
And then there was 2 others that were probably in that 150 range too that were out there with it. And I wish I had the camera I have today to get some better footage. I mean, it was a cheap $200 little deal,
Yeah.
and the deer were probably sitting 200 yards. I thought just maybe one, a doe would squirt my way. Never happened, but it was one of those hunts that I'm not going to forget and probably made the season, even though you didn't kill him. But outside of that day, I didn't have a lot of chances at big deer, and I hunted, fairly often, not as much as I.
Well, you should
Never
have
as much as you want to.
You should have stole the bow out of Damon's hands when he let that 6 go. I
No
know that.
crap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
I hate that guy
that
for
day.
that.
That might have been the same year.
That thing was awesome.
Wish I
Thing
would've-
was like
So
we probably
thick.
went to have
Coke
been able to
can
do it.
mass.
Yeah.
We went to be able to do it because he was on us fairly early because we were
Rattling. and shit.
rattling, and
Yeah.
it was nuts. It was we're probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock on some public. We hadn't seen shit. I mean, it was getting to the point where this sucks. That's what are we doing for lunch? We're getting down. Where are we going to hunt tonight? We're just more thinking about
Casey's.
that than we are looking for deer. And we grabbed the horns, and I'm smacking them together, and he's got the grunt tube, and he's just blowing a tune on it, and we're half laughing at each other through the whole thing, and just get finished up, and then I'm turning to him and saying, what are we doing for lunch probably? And then here he comes. You can hear him just running through the leaves, and he turns. He's like, "Holy crap, big buck!" And right away he said big buck because it was, and I'm like, "Dude, kill it!" I got the video camera on him. Done deal. He's only got 6 points, but I mean, I wish I could show you guys that video. I mean, the thing had.
Mitchell, throw it
Monster
up on the
bases.
video. He can
Someone's
throw
got
it.
to have it still, don't they?
I don't know if I got a picture on it now with my new phone, but monster bases, monster brows. I mean,
Thing was so heavy.
cool 8-pointer, and he's like, it's only got 6 points, and it was October at the time, not November. So
Did it have
if
some?
he
Didn't
was-
it have some trash, some kickers too?
no, it was a straight up 6 and
Really?
a,
It
and
was
a stud.
heavy though.
That's
Heavy.
another cool thing we could do with like doing video on this too, we can all the bucks that we're talking about. We
Yeah.
can throw up some pics.
I was just
I know a
thinking
guy
that,
who's
like,
pretty good at editing.
people
I wouldn't know
drooling.
what to do on that, but
I was
I'm
just
pretty
thinking
sure.
that we're like
I know a
jumping
guy
back
who-
and forth with deer name. People are gonna be
Yeah.
like, "What the hell?" So I just gotta put the pictures up.
I need a visual
This one-
picture on this guy.
I will
This
say,
one's impressive.
when I came down that year to film you,
Yeah.
first Iowa experience, it's different down there. Remember the spot when we weren't having any luck for, was that
Oh yeah,
double G4?
yeah. We
and then
went
we
seen
went-
that buck. We were
Another
hunting.
sob story.
And then we went south and we're like, we got to try something different. And that, it's like, you look at the map and you're like, why are we sitting here? I mean, what? There's nothing here. I mean,
You know, that was such a flyby because Joel had messaged me, or we had talked at a, I think it was a deer show down to Anderson's in the summertime. He's like, "You're going to school
missed
down there,
that thing.
okay?" Yeah, I miss that too. He's like, I got quite a few leases down there, and I'm pretty booked up for shotgun, but I might have a spot or two for bow. I mean, just straight up offered it to me. I hardly knew him at the time, which is, surprising and awesome of him to do. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And I was hunting this deer. We were burnt out from him. Like, you
just
know what?
weren't getting any action.
No, it was really slow, uncharacteristically slow for that spot too. It's an awesome spot, but like, gosh, I wonder if I could still take Joel up on that offer.
Remember, we drove all the way down there.
Yeah, and I
hadn't heard back from him.
hadn't heard back from him yet. It was a hope and a prayer that he'd message me back. And I'm like, well, I'm going to drive down there because if he does say yes,
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going looking for deer.
Well, we get all the
Otherwise,
way down
maybe
there.
you can go to a public spot, but
Get
it
all
would've
the way
been so
down there.
late.
Hadn't heard from him, and we're sitting there like, drove all the way down here. We still haven't heard, and it's like what, pushing 4 o'clock now, and
Like,
we're
yeah,
like,
what public
holy
spot
crap.
is?
yeah.
Yeah, it was getting late. I don't know if it's
There
quite
was
late,
that
but it
little
was late.
public spot just east of that, but then
Yeah.
he finally got back, so he rushed in down there and threw up in there, and what was it? 20 minutes? 20. I mean,
minutes before
all of a
deer
sudden,
came out of
deer
that
just-
cedar thicket, and it was a long ways away. But man,
that cedar fence line, there was like 4 bucks that came out of there, and it's like,
and
where in the
What?
world are these
double that
deer
from
coming
does.
from? I mean,
yeah, pretty soon. I mean, this was getting last light. You looked around and you're like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah.
Trying to count them. You're like, where do they come from? They're just this little draw,
Yeah.
grassy draw. Which a lot of people look at a map and say, Joel and Ted have told me before they got guys that's like, no, I don't want to sit there. I give me a spot in the timber, give me a spot. But those draws, first off, they're in there. You know how to get in, where they're going during your hunt. I mean, your access, you can get to them. They're in range. It makes it so.
Yeah,
so
without
good.
going down to there, if you would have told me, hey, go hunt that spot, I would have said,
You kidding me?
Nah,
You're setting,
I'm not-
you're
I'm not
setting
going
me
there.
up, man.
Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of like the lease that you got this year. You see it on a map, and you're like, I don't know.
that's kind of why.
If you
like,
didn't have that
if I
experience
didn't
with
have that
Joel,
experience,
oh, yeah.
I don't know if I would have had that. I mean, we've
Exactly.
been shed hunting down there for how many years, but
Mm-hmm.
and like we know, but besides hunting that night, it's like to look at the lease now, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it could come from anywhere. I mean,
Well, especially being in Wisconsin, having woods
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
We're not used to that.
No.
yeah,
Where we're at, especially
Up in the Northwoods.
The Northwoods.
Big
you
woods.
just got big blocks of timber where
Yeah.
down there you got all these
Ridges
draws and then like the grass on the lease. I mean, so much CRP grass.
Little fingers
Yeah.
of woods and ditches
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
What about your Iowa hunt this year? You talk about your
Mine's-
public spots at all?
Mine's big timber where my public is. Feel right at home.
pretty much is. Not a lot of food on that spot either,
No,
but which
but
it
we
makes it tough. I remember sitting there wishing, I'm like, God, I'm so used to hunting over some kind of food,
adjacent off
I
a
got,
crop field or something.
something. But I got impatient and didn't kill one there. I,
I
bet
got-
you if I put my time in there,
I got 2
more.
cameras there. There hasn't been a ton on there yet, but there's been a couple like nice like young bucks. They're definitely young deer, but it's nice to see some bucks on there anyway.
Just got them on trails, or what do you got your cameras on?
Yeah, I put one. There's a little tiny pond in the woods on the public where I'm hunting, like close by. I got it on a ridge, but I put one like on the dike of that pond, and then another one I just put on the ridge on a trail. There's like an X. Put it right. X marks the spot on the trail, and I made a mock scrape there, and that's
Money.
where I'm getting. There's been a couple bucks on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of pictures, but like we said earlier, I think it's just that weird period right now. I mean,
Yeah.
the summer groups and then kind of breaking up to.
Yeah.
But you should. I mean,
some of that public, especially. There's obviously you got some acorns in there, but from my experience down there, it's okay all year, and then you get there's that switch that goes off when, Buck says I need a doe and I need it now, and they come piling into that public, and it's fun.
And I don't doubt there's
2-3 straight
how
weeks.
many deer there. I mean, we've hunted or shed hunted those spots. I mean, you see sign in there, but
and that's most of the sign we're picking up is the winter sign where there's not. They're in there, but they're not in there like they would be. But you see rubs and old scrapes, and it's like okay, here we go.
Dude, I think I saw one of the biggest rubs I've ever seen in my life today. When I was out changing batteries.
Not those ones down in Mount Air.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say when we were shut out in Iowa.
I saw one bigger than that. I'll take a picture next time. But I was driving through the woods today on the Ranger, and all of a sudden I look over. I was like, that can't be a rub. And I look back. I'm like, oh my God,
Is it
dude.
like freshly worked too this year?
Yeah. It literally had to. It's not too far away from where we hunted the other night.
On a pine or where
No,
kind of a tree?
I couldn't really. Didn't specify the type of tree as I was driving.
That's not an arborist.
Popple.
No, I agree.
Wasn't anything like.
I mean, with a former logger all the time, so
yeah, true.
He name drops a lot of trees, so I get smart quick to that.
Note that down right away.
They do, and they do seem to always like. I mean, the cedars are one thing that people put cedar posts in the ground just for that purpose.
That's another thing. I went to go fix that post today
popular too. Yep.
And that thing was tortoise shreds. That's why it was bent over.
Oh, for sure,
big time.
Cedar post you put in the ground once?
Yeah.
Just you dig it give it an extra 6 inches now.
I gotta go get
chill.
Easy, post hole digger.
Sorry about that. There might be kids watching.
Pause. Yeah, but I put a lot of those out this year, and they're working pretty dang good. I had a couple bears go up and scratch their backs on them too. Nice. And
that reminds me of when we were shed hunting in Iowa. I walked up on a old wood post on some public, and it was like an hourglass. It was sweet. I wanted to steal the post and take it home and put like a mount on it. It was
right there for your pedestal.
Yeah,
it's offside here, but Mitch's buck's in the background. You need to get that. That'd be a sweet pedestal.
Oh yeah,
so much cooler if you had it from that very farm too, where you have it. I know Dave Faulkner's got one like that. Lucky bastard. Yeah. That's such a sweet setup.
Well, Jake's been to Johnny's farm. I'm sure there's a couple things laying around that I could put on that pedestal.
That'd be cool.
One of the funniest hunts I was on last year, over at Johnny's. My dad wanted to go sit the pond because I'd been sitting over there quite a bit. He's like, all right, you've had enough. Let me sit the pond. I was like, all right. So what am I gonna do now? Went and did a little hanging hunt, and I was literally 20 yards from an old combine and a whole bunch of trucks around there. And all of a sudden, a cat runs right underneath me. Then all of a sudden, I literally thought this doe came from out of one of the cars that was parked there. I looked around. I was like, "What the hell, dude?"
When I went with you the one time and we were talking to Johnny for like 20 minutes when we got back, it was funny. He was making comments like that. He's like, "There's been deer out in the field. There's deer over here. Yep. There's deer over by that old truck all the time." It's just like, what the heck?
Well, yeah, Johnny, they're laying in the truck.
Every night when I got done hunting there, he'd be waiting outside for me, ready to get ready for the report for the night. He scared the shit out of me a couple different times though too. He'd be posted up on a car or what, I don't even know what it was, and be like, "Well, what'd you see tonight?" I was like, Jesus. He's good shit though.
Oh yeah,
guy's a legend.
He is a legend.
That day you saw Johnny's buck, didn't he? One of the mornings or one of the evenings when he came in real late, didn't he drive up damn near to the stand? And
yeah, he drove up and got me that night.
Never know. And you shot him out of that same exact tree.
Oh yeah, so you don't want to bump him getting out, so he come got you.
Yeah.
We started doing that. I remember the first time I hunted with you and
this grandpa.
Your grandpa drove us right to the tree and came back and got us. So then we started that a couple years ago. I mean,
if you got somebody sitting at the Ranger or something that you can, it's pretty nice to do.
It is nice.
Well, and they get so used to it when you're out there moving cams and prepping stands. I mean, especially over how many years. I mean, you're doing the same route. It's not like you're just driving all over.
They don't associate you with danger at all.
Not always, no. And I think some farms and places are better than others. Like right now, my grandpa, my uncle, they're, both have killed a lot of big deer, but we're to the point now where if you don't have a ride in, you're pretty much not going hunting that day. Which you can find a ride in. Granted, my grandpa will take off
Your
whatever
grandma
he needs
even
to do.
sometimes, your mom.
My grandma,
sometimes.
my mom,
Yeah.
anybody
Sister.
to go get you in there, get you in the tree, but which I don't know if that's 100% necessary, depending on the spot, depending on which farm you're at. My grandpa's or my Uncle Cody's farm, which used to be my grandpa's, that spot, absolutely. Their deer are so used to him bumming around on the gator, fixing fences, checking cattle. I mean, there's been times, I think one of you guys are probably with me, where deer don't even leave the field. I mean,
Checking the cameras while the gator's still
climb
running.
up in your tree, and they don't necessarily watch you to climb up in your tree. They're more focused on the gator, four-wheeler, whatever it may be, but they don't give a shit. I mean, it's awesome. And then that's one thing, getting in there. Two, the biggest thing, getting out. That's where it's extra important, I will say. But again, I mean, we've had deer hardly leave the field. It's awesome. I mean, you can hunt a spot then, who knows, 5, 8, 10 times, depending on, what when you're hunting it and how you're hunting it. But if you're bumping the deer out every time you're leaving, maybe once, maybe twice, it's going to get bad quick,
Yeah, it's one beauty of hunting right by the farm or the house or something like that. You just give a little call in. Hey, I got some deer around me.
Other spots,
Send
so
help.
I question. I mean, places that you don't. I mean, like there's certain farms where you're not doing. You don't have cattle. You don't have fencing. Everything you do. I mean, and you only go in there hunting with your four-wheeler. I don't think it's as much of an advantage. I mean,
it's mainly like something like only if you're hunting a food plot because they're gonna be feeding after dark.
Definitely.
So it's like
we'll see. But
That's true.
I don't know. It's kind of a pain in the ass getting the ride, but it's sometimes it's not. It depends on your spot. When you got to walk up a hill to get back to your truck, or there's any snow on the ground or anything that's, lazy guy. Says,
I do remember
"Okay, I'll
one
take the
time
gator."
sitting at his grandpa's pond. This was after I shot my biggest buck at the time. We got greedy and we're like, let's double up. Let's go out tonight too. Let's try to get one. And I remember we walked all over that hill in order to get in the pond that night.
It's true. It was one of the very rare nights we did not have a
ride.
Didn't have a ride in, and we got in an unconventional way. We took the longest way around, so we didn't go through any deer, and still wasn't perfect, wasn't ideal. But that was November 4th. I mean, we were putting all our chips in there,
all our
at
eggs
one time,
in one basket one day.
And that was one of those, you were feeling a little invincible. We just killed a 160 on camera. We can't do anything wrong. Let's climb on the tree here. But we did get it right out that day. But I think we did spook at one deer or two going in, but
already,
I think it was probably the first fawn or so that was on the field. We did see a handful of deer. What was that? A bunch of does that night, no bucks. It was kind of
so many does on that piece.
Shocking for November 4th. It was also a real warm day that day. But
seems like that's been the case the last couple of years, which sucks.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a little bit more warm than cold snaps. The last gun season.
What year was that, Mitch? 14 when that happened.
Yep.
That's insane. That was 9 years ago. If we shoot a 160 on film in the morning, November 4th this year, we might be sitting on the tailgate still at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We probably might be taking
done that a couple times after a kill.
You got to do that. I mean, there comes a point if you got it's maybe different if you've got a mega giant on camera and he's coming in, you feel like you can kill him, no doubt, but you don't kill very many big bucks, on film with your buddies. Take advantage of it. Yeah. Looking back, I don't regret. There's been a time or two where I haven't went out, sat and partied over a tailgate, and I don't think I regret one of those times.
We went back to the stand half drunk after Dave shot that.
I know. Yeah. That was a time, but you're there for about an hour and a half, and you're like, gosh, I got a headache. Am I getting hungover? Right?
No crap.
Like, guys, it's first week of November. We got to go hunting yet. But
I saw a nice buck that night, too, after that.
Really?
I remember that day, they were really moving that day. On our way in, didn't even jump a couple. They were already up on their feet chasing. It was 3 bucks chasing a doe, which none of them were, mega giants. But it was still, Mike, we're in the right spot. Let's just try to get in here. But
We went back to the stand, got a little sobered up, and then met Mike and Dave back in the bar. They were cross-eyed drunk.
yeah, we did gain some ground.
What
there.
made it worse was when me and Jake, that was on the bottoms. So
Oh,
you're
yeah.
all
Oh, Christ, yeah.
half drunk up and crossing the river, and it's like,
I was hunting not too far away from you that night,
yeah,
too.
that was one. I mean, he shot that early in the morning too, and you meet back at his house, and
Oh, I
he's got
remember-
the silo
was splits,
Coors Lights. yeah.
Yeah, Dave, he's
Oh.
always good for that. And who wouldn't be shooting a giant?
Oh, man.
That was a
supplying
lot of
the,
beer that day before
supplying
heading
the
back
beer,
out to
but-
the stand.
Shit, I had to shoot mine on a Sunday last year, so we only
Yeah.
stayed out until like
I know.
11 o'clock.
And
just
we
at
were
the cannery.
we were drinking beers after I shot mine the night
night
before, pretty late.
yeah.
Real late. Ty Vetras. Shout out to Ty. He
Oh,
came-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tichicus.
He killed his buck that night, too. He was.
Oh yeah, me and him same
Yep.
night.
Went and took pictures for him that day. Then
Took pictures from me.
the next day, yep.
Jake, how did. I know,
Karma went back around.
I know you probably weren't expecting to kill a 190, but how was that for you? You got your buck. Ty shows up. Oh, Ty, he
Ty's got a
shot buck.
160.
He gets a 150, 160. Less than a day later, there's a 190.
Yeah, that
I'd
was
be like,
tough.
hey guys, I still I got one, you know. Don't
Yeah.
It's not like you can take pictures with yours next to Mitch's
Definitely.
either.
Go
It's
on a
like,
pose
eh.
with, yeah.
I remember making
put,
a comment like that to Mitch. Like, you couldn't have gave
Didn't
my
even-
buck a little bit longer shine.
Give me a
bud?
few
They
more
give me
days.
one
man.
day.
Just create problems for himself, though. I mean, what do you do with a 192? You can't have it next to all your other one. I mean, you get 5.5-year-old deer that are
You got to hang it on a
140,
separate
150,
wall.
good
so it's
looking
not
deer,
close
and
to.
you can't hang them. I mean, good problem to have, I'd say.
That's facts.
But yeah, which they damn near deserve a wall on their own or a pedestal at least. Which
Well, yeah.
Pedestal soon to come. Yeah. Still got it hanging up, but
Who's making it? You.
probably me and my dad. My dad's the master magician.
Mariah's grandpa made me one, so I just need a deer to participate.
My dad's buck from Wabasha that's on that pedestal.
That
Yeah,
one's
I
sweet.
saw that. That
Dang
was pretty
nice, too.
nice.
I think a guy from Cochrane makes them like that.
I think
too.
it's cool. I mean, they're all cool, but I really like them when they're sitting on. It's something with your. Could you shut your phone off? You're trying to be. You're no
He's talking in
professionalism.
codes over here. I don't know what was going
He's giving
on.
you basic.
Yeah.
But
Steal right now.
with something, whatever you do, try to get something from the farm. I like it when you get something from the farm. You actually kill them on, or some memorabilia, whether it be a piece of tin, a piece of car.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Johnny's buck, Dave's buck. What does
Just
he
take
got his
the-
barn? He's got a barn board from his own barn. That
Just
fell
take the
down.
door off that old truck
cool,
laying
so.
out back at Johnny's.
I'm gonna do
Dude,
something
that
like
would
that.
be sick.
I was
Like, get
thinking about
something
that.
from one of the
Some
trucks.
barbed
Awesome.
wire and
Yeah.
some like grass and stuff around there.
Get
could
the
even
whole truck bed.
You could even get a yeah.
Just put them in the back of the truck bed.
I've seen those.
Tailgate.
I've
Take a
seen those.
tailgate
I've
off the
seen those
truck.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those. I mean,
I'm
I
not a
know
fan.
we
It's
talked
too
about it a
much.
few times. Like you
The
see those
backpack one.
full body mounts, or like
Definitely
I mean,
not a fan of the back.
don't want to name the one guy that you went down and got the camera from, but like the half body mount with like the front legs.
It was
it's
pretty
like
cool.
I know, but it's like
What did that
Just-
thing squid? I was
I'm
over
not huge
200.
on full body mounts. Period.
thing
I'd
was
give me
nuts.
pedestals, and
Yeah.
I mean, if I shot the biggest deer there is, I still would probably get a pedestal
Yeah.
over a full body.
Pedestals
full body.
are so nice.
Full
don't
body's
interest me
overrated.
whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Just
Didn't
so
Johnny's
hard to
buck
make-
say
I
it's
don't have
harder?
the
to make a
room
shoulder.
When he
and
shot
head
Johnny's
look
buck,
good.
he was like, "Oh, that's got to be a full body mount on that."
Whole body.
Just don't really need the room for a full.
Nobody
deer
cares what
sitting
his
in the
nobody cares what
corner.
his ass and dick looks like, anyways.
Jesus.
Why all the
He's so
time with
obsessed.
these trail cams
Dong.
too? Like
You guys are your group is this. Would you name your one buck Long Dick Dong?
That was
I've
Mike
never had
and Dave.
I've never had a deer named after a
And then
body
they
part,
they have
so-
another one.
yeah,
named
you
I don't
just
wanna
send
give a
all the
shit.
pictures.
What
of-
about the other one they had named Beefy Tits? Dude.
Yeah. He earned his name. He was a big fat beef cow looking thing, but
Yeah,
anyhow,
Funny as
Long
heck.
Dick Dong is incredible. The big drop time.
it's best.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
how-
had a big old drop time.
of course that's how it worked.
Long
That
Dick
deer
Dong.
got sick or got hit by a car and was up above the house, just bedding there. Drops a shed, but of course it's not the drop tie inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course he dies right
Of
there.
course he dies,
It's like,
gone. Never find the
Everything
drop
right
tie
happened.
inside.
He got
It's like-
lucky.
That's
He made
another
it
heartbreak
through.
story.
It's tough- it's
How many
tough killing
drop
big
times
deer.
have you ever had on camera?
Not many.
One. Just him, isn't it?
Off the top of my head, I can only think of one, and it was at the home farm.
Like
I
legit?
winter.
I mean, sticker or something's
I
one
was
thing,
gonna
but
say,
legit
yeah.
drop tine, man, I'm not sure.
That's
I've got
probably the
one.
only one for us.
I
Actually,
really don't. I've got a
Bevo had
flyer,
like a
but
little
Yeah, the flyer
2-incher.
buck at the home
Can't
farm
count it.
too.
can't count it. No drop time.
Yeah.
They're rare. A lot of times they don't have them until they get to be that 5, 6 years old. Anyhow,
They're pretty
see some
random, but I
extra
just
stuff,
thought
but-
about when you were talking about hunting that spot in Iowa when he came with.
Mm-hmm.
You called Joel and he didn't respond. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna go and hopefully he responds.
I know what you're
It
saying.
reminded me of when we were coyote hunting. dude.
Yeah.
You called your
Oh, yeah.
uncle. You're like,
My uncle's
hey, I gotta thinking about going coyote hunting tonight and hoping you respond. But if you don't, I'm probably just gonna go anyway.
I got
This is
distracted mid-conversation on that call, but yeah, my uncle's good for it as long as I'm letting him know and I'm killing coyotes.
I
Not
better
that
ask
many.
you if we can go. We're just going to go anyways.
Yeah, want to
gonna
let you
give
know.
a heads
but
up.
I'm
To let you know
probably
I'm
just gonna
going.
go anyway.
I don't hear. Well,
I'll give him some venison.
it's happened too many times, right? I didn't hear from you, so wow, you just go. Dude, make sure you're not. If he knows who it is and what we're doing, that's the main thing.
That was so funny. We
Write
might have
him a
shot
note.
on that night too.
I believe we did. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
are coyote snipers.
Try to be. I don't know. Only reason it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Jake is
Most thing it's fun because winters up here in Wisconsin are quite long, and if you're not by then, most of your big bucks are either shot or you don't want them. The ones that are left you don't want killed, so your deer hunting's taking a turn or shifting.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
I
time to
will
go after
say-
coyotes.
I love going coyote hunting. dude. Yeah, I got him hooked on it now too.
I will say
Cinema?
when we went, and I did
Buying
miss that one, but during the summer, it was pretty nice to just go up on the road in jeans and t-shirt
Dude, you
and
can't
just
say that, dude. That's
just off the road.
frowned upon.
But
You can-
it's
yeah.
pretty nice to just pop
Dirt-
up there and
dirt
just,
road.
Yeah, don't have to get all worried about walking through how much
It's
the
a huge
snow
difference. And then on those dark nights, half the time I'm sitting off my grandpa's driveway, or you're sitting in just off a road ditch somewhere where you're not. During the daylight you're not going to be sitting there because you're not secluded enough. But at night they don't give a damn, and you're going there. Not a full moon. You can go there whenever the hell you want to go there, snow or no snow.
Dude, it was weird when I took him summertime. It was like the first time he's hardly looked through our thermals. I didn't believe a word he was saying. He's like, didn't know what he was looking at,
No,
You
that's a
didn't
rabbit.
No,
Yeah,
I was like,
nope.
dude, I just saw one over there, but it was for I was scanning and came over and I saw it, and then I turned to tell him, and by the time I looked back, it was gone.
Yeah, but
But I
before
was-
that, dude, you were like, look it down there. Here comes one. And it was a rabbit.
No, I did not. I did not say you
didn't, dude.
I've made mistakes.
Dude, we all do that, right? We did the same thing.
Deer, it happens a lot.
But-
You question it, and then
So,
you see a coyote, you're like, how the hell did I think?
Well,
that
I
was
saw it, and I was just like, God, that looked just like I saw just the head, and I was like, sure looked like a coyote to me. He's like, it was probably deer. And then you second guess yourself. You're like, okay, I've never hardly looked through a thermal. It's whatever. And then sure enough, we were there much longer, showed off, and
It was
get
like,
back and
boy cried wolf. I did not believe him for a second.
And then we were
after he
gonna-
said that rabbit.
just about to leave, and then it's
No,
like,
wait,
do
remember
one
I
more
went-
scan.
I went and I went out in the field and got the call.
Oh.
And then I got back by him, and we were just scanning for a couple minutes, and it came back out.
I look right back at the
You
same
can maybe
spot.
have that
and-
thing I might have to sell it. I gotta save up
He's hooked.
I have to save up to buy a hunt next year. So
Yeah.
True.
my Iowa tag. Right now, I'm not saving enough money fast enough. I know that having a little one will do that, but
True.
I don't think I could sell it. It's one of those things. It's just
It was
I
pretty
want to
sweet.
sell it. I want $3,000 just for hunting play money. But
Yeah.
then when wintertime comes, I'm gonna be
Giving that thing
twiddling
back.
my thumbs. Well,
I
everybody
want
else is.
I
going
want a
coyote.
brand new one. I would spend
It
like
was-
$50,000 on one.
It was
Spend
pretty
that.
sweet.
You better
Cool.
spend that on a hunting lease, Jake.
No.
Kill some big bucks.
Yeah, he would not split it with me.
Who?
You.
The lease
Yeah.
in Iowa.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Here, this guy told me last year he'd split one, and what do? I just get a price lower and lower and lower and lower through guys, and then he bails.
I'm not the Ford. You got the clock
Priceline
radio.
negotiator.
Cool. Got the clock radio. I cannot afford.
Shout out to Borat.
Well, I think this first episode is just about wrapped up here. We got plenty of topics to talk about in the future. We're thinking about having some guests on here soon, too. Talked about Joel once already. He's probably going to be on in the next episode or two. But
Love a guy.
it will only get better from here.
Yeah, I was
Thanks for tuning in if you did. And good luck hunting, everybody.